Back to our top story now, and Israel's war minister has announced his resignation just days after 4 hostages were rescued from Gaza. Joining us live now is the former IDF spokesperson and the senior fellow at the Foundation for Defence of Democracies, Jonathan Conricus. Good to have you with us this morning, Jonathan. So not much of a surprise here that Gantz has left, but what do you think it means for Netanyahu's hold on power?
Hi, good morning. Thank you for having me. I'm not entirely sure that it would mean a lot in the short term on the Prime Minister's hold on power. I think, just like your correspondent said very correctly, I think that the biggest challenges that will pose or derive from this resignation will be in terms of unity, cohesion in the broader sense in Israel, and of course the international perception, how our enemies see Israel, and how the international community will look and decipher or analyze the decisions made by the current cabinet, and of course the tremendous worries about the more extreme parts of the government having more say about decisions made in the war.
There are still roughly 120 hostages in Gaza. Has, as Gantz mentioned, Netanyahu placed political survival above the fate of those hostages?
So I know less about that, but I think that, it's been a very steady talking point and action point of Minister Gantz. He's been very consistent in focusing on that and wanting to get a deal done. Unfortunately, Hamas aren't collaborating with that. And according to Benny Gantz, he's not happy with how the Prime Minister has been managing it either. I think, of course, that most of the responsibility for that is on Hamas's refusal to do a deal. At the end of the day, it's a deal if Israel agrees to stopping the war and allowing Hamas to continue to exist. And that's something that the government as a whole hasn't agreed to. And I think that would practically be a very dangerous thing for Israel. But Benny Gantz has been very consistent with that. And there's, of course, very strong sentiment in Israel for the release of the hostages, despite the fact that most of Israel, all of Israel, was elated yesterday with the happy news of the release, the safe extraction and rescue of 4 Israeli hostages. Still 120 are left in Hamas captivity, and it's understood that they'll get out. Probably the best way of getting them out is a mix of military pressure, but also eventually some kind of deal.
Gantz wants an election. Jonathan, is there likely to be one?
Looking at, well, again, I'm no political specialist, but looking at the current situation, I don't think that any of the current government parties really have an interest in bringing that to happen. It's a 64-seat majority, so 4 seats of a majority. And I don't think that they would gain very much from bringing about an election, because according to all polls, they wouldn't fare very well. So that's my limited understanding of Israeli politics.
Oh. Jonathan, thanks for your time this morning.